Hey everybody, it is Taylor of Summer Del Sol here. Thank you so much for joining me again. Today I'm going to be working on installing my headers and my steering column. I cannot lie, it was incredibly satisfying pulling these out finally. These tissues have been staring at me for far too long. I have been staring at this unopened box of headers for too long. It is time to see this shiny new part. Woohoo! Ooh! Sorry. You can see here after removing this gasket where I'm going to have a lot of fun re-threading these bolts into the engine. I goofed. I was puzzled for a bit because I realized I had 2 less screws going into this gasket, and then I realized the header was the same way, so it's the right part. Curious to see how this works. Now with the utmost caution, I place the header in the car. I think it goes without saying that I was pretty terrible at operation as a child. There we go. Alright. Yep, definitely missing some bolts. I screwed up.
That's brand new.
So at the very least, I was able to find the bolts that I managed to pull out of the engine with the nut still attached. So there's that. I've not yet tightened these all the way down, so I'm sure I will find some time to complain about it later on Instagram. Sometimes, depending on donor and what components you're using, people run into interference problems here with the headers and the steering column. So with the headers installed, I went ahead and mocked up the steering column. You basically just run the skinny part through the hole in the firewall that connects down to the steering rack. It's definitely obnoxious, so I recommend having something that you can rest it on. With the base of the steering column close to the rack, it looks like I've got all the clearance I need. So I'm fairly certain I've disconnected my steering rack and steering column differently than most. I'm a little skeptical of the security of this connection here, so I definitely recommend checking out some other videos as well. Thankfully I do have 2 Miatas, so it was nice to have a different reference, but even then, I need to replace this boot and make sure this connection is secure. With the connection to the steering rack as tight as I could get it, it's time to hoist up the column. Thankfully this part's pretty straightforward, it's just 2 nuts connecting it to the pedal assembly. Once you have that column secure, you're ready to install your dash and column mounting plate. Shout out to Building the Exocet, another great video series that documents this process. He recommended the bolts that I'm using, and it was a huge help. So yes, they were somewhat small jobs today, but it's 2 things knocked out that really start to make it look like a car. I'm getting so excited to see how this is progressing. As always, thank you guys so much for watching and following along. I really appreciate it, and I hope this is helpful. Definitely recommend building one of these. It's been a blast. I look forward to it every week, and I hope to see you next time.